Just so you know, this is silly town.
We love it. We love a good test and learn. Hello, look at this. Mobile figs.
Hello. Welcome to another episode. How are you doing today?
Good. Today has been nonstop. Oh, look, I look like a little boy, so we love this for me. Went from little emo kid to 12-year-old boy.
I feel like we say that like every
today has been nonstop. Well, because I don't know. Also, I was watching our YouTubes and I was like, oh wow, I look even chunkier than I am. Weird. But you know what? That's okay, because as I'm getting back into the shape that I feel comfortable in, we will have those to look back on and it will be fun. But I was watching our YouTube videos yesterday.
Love that.
Scanning them. I know. I also love the way that we like interact. Almost every thumbnail, you're like smiling, and I have like one eye closed, or I'm doing some crazy type of very animated thing.
Listen, I don't pick those. Those are what YouTube
No, I know.
picks for our thumbnails. Because every time I've tried to actually pick one where we both look like super cute, it's like, I'm just not gonna load that, so you can go fuck yourself.
That's why I really appreciate it. It's a really like good visual capture of what people are in for.
Yeah.
So sitting still is not my forte.
Fair.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So today's fun because you're in your car.
I am in my car. I am awaiting. I'm awaiting Enter Shikari. Yeah. Super excited.
I love that we both got an experience this month where we got to go see like our favorite bands where we can just show up at doors and not be stressed out.
Dude, no.
Like most of the bands are out now where you can't do that anymore.
Like it's so weird. And like I showed up like super early because I didn't have fuck all to do today anyway, because like I literally just came here for this and I'm like, I'm not gonna go hike because I just went, like I woke up, left the parking garage this morning and went and found like a Y that was open so I could like shower and stuff. And then I went and sat in a different parking lot and like did my makeup and all that shit. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go hike because it's also really far to drive and like I just don't want to deal with all that. I did go have breakfast and edit some pictures this morning, which was nice, but yeah. So I just showed up super early, and it's nice getting to, like, when you go to, like, a cool venue that's not just, like, a fucking building, it actually, like, is really aesthetically pleasing outside. I love getting here early enough to be able to take a nice picture of it before there's, like, a fuckload of people outside, so I was gonna be here early anyway.
Yeah. There are, like, there's a group of, like, maybe, like, 5 people that still camped for Hanson, but there's literally no reason at all. Like, when I went for the second show what was that, last week? I don't even know what fucking day it is, or where I am, or where I'm gonna be tomorrow. But when I went, I literally got there after doors, and to be fair, they do have a fan club line, and I've been paying for that fan club for as long as I think I have known they've existed.
Yeah.
Whenever. I was around when they created it. That's how long I've been in the fan club. Like, day one. But I don't know, I was probably like, I don't know, 50, 60 people back, and I got there after doors and I was still like second behind barricade, and I'm like, oh, it's so nice to just like remember that there are chill experiences at shows where I can just show up whenever the fuck I want. So I love that for you. I love that we both got that this month.
I'm hoping this show has a little bit more people than the last one, but like it was such a fucking vibe knowing that they pack such big places, but then they come here and play like tiny little venues. People in the UK apparently are not happy about it, but sucks to suck, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. The only benefit to living here is that sometimes really good bands play small venues.
Yeah. Denver, you'll probably have more people. Denver is like a good music scene.
To be fair, nobody even knows Davenport exists because fuck Iowa, so like, but yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Davenport? Yeah. Is that where you were for the last show was in Davenport? Oh, that's right, because you just go over the border for shows.
Yeah.
Over the border, like you're going somewhere to the next state.
One of these days they'll just come to Omaha and I'll have it easy and be able to like see them, you know, without driving hours, but whatever.
I just realized like how out of touch I am with what it's like for other people to experience live events because I grew up like in the New York tri-state area. Like Like the I don't even remember what tour just got announced, and like Lish was like, "Oh, the closest show's like 4 hours." Oh, Imminence. She's like, "It's like 4 hours each way," and I'm like, "That's so fucking weird to me." Like, so weird. Granted, it still takes me 2 hours to get to the city, even though I live right here.
Yeah.
But... I went. What is this number calling me? Whatever you are, goodbye. I went to the gym today,
Yeah.
and I was super excited because I haven't been in a
Hell
while.
yeah.
This has been like my most year ever. And I walked in, and like my thing didn't scan, and so the girl was like, "Oh wait, that didn't scan. Can you come back?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I go back, and I literally just upside down dropped my entire coffee, like all 4 shots of espresso, all over
Oh,
the floor.
fuck.
And I know I had the saddest face because she immediately was like, "It's fine. Just leave it. It's okay. I'll get it." And I was like, "Are you sure I can help you clean it?" She was like, "No, it's fine. Just leave it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I just finished my coffee for the day 40 minutes ago because I got another one.
As you should. Gotta be able to function.
Yes. Yeah. So today has been crazy. I had meetings all morning and I went to the gym and I just had book club. So my friends and I are super nerds and I guess this spoon has to come off my desk because I can't stop waving it around. So we just had book club and we're reading a book called The Power of Regret, which is and will continue to be an interesting experience for me because I have very strong feelings about regret. Which I'm not going to get on a pedestal about right away because I'm interested in how you feel. But this book is already a journey, and we've only read the first part, and I'm actually behind. I only read like the first 2 or 3 chapters. We're supposed to read 4, I think. But it's already like a journey. We just had an hour conversation about it right before this. So I'm going to ask you, just like broadly, how do you feel about regret? Like when I bring it up, what comes up for you?
A lot of feelings about regret. Let's see. About regret, I have a lot of feelings of regret. I don't even know where I would start with that.
I didn't warn you about this either. Sorry,
yeah, no,
but
it's a great question.
There's a reason that I have not said.
I guess honestly, mostly in the last year because I've done a wild amount of personal growth in this last year alone. Shout out to the group chat for that. Oh Jesus.
You look surprised by that one.
That one hit. So I used to just feel like a general sense of regret all the time because like I used to let the most like menial things stop me from doing things. And so I just let all of that like that big ball of regret just kind of sit inside me. But I'm making the transition to trying to be more focused on like I'd rather regret doing something and it like not working out or being silly or what the fuck ever than to simply just regret not doing something because I got too in my head about it or, you know, just shit like that. Because if you don't do the thing, then like you never know. But like if you do the thing and fuck it up, then it's like at least you knew. At least you attempted whatever it was or, you know, just tried it, whatever. So like I've made that switch from just like regretting letting myself and other people hold me back from whatever, whether it was like just they're like needing somebody else's approval or letting somebody else's anxiety about where they're at with their life affect where I feel about where I'm at with my life. And like, I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like that seems silly to let someone else's feelings about their own place in their life affect like how I feel about where I'm at in my life. But I've had a lot of toxic people in my life for a long time, so like it affected me very heavily.
I don't think that seems silly. I just made like, I don't know. I could count how many times in my life I've made that face. That was a weird face. Okay. Couple things. First of all, that doesn't seem silly to me. I actually have a post in draft form on Instagram. Like, I did not plan for all this. This is just a testament to synchronicity. Did not plan for all of my thoughts and conversations to intertwine today, but here we are. That post is more around like, there have been a lot of people in my life who well-meaning and actually I really like this, have like either raised me or been around for years and years of my life with the messaging of like life short, fuck everybody else, do what you want, be yourself, blah blah blah. And then like now I do that and some of those same people are like, don't do that, that's embarrassing, or don't do that, that's shameful, or don't do that, like whatever. So anyway, that's like in draft form, and by the time we post this it will be up probably with a picture of my bare ass, because let's be honest, that's what everybody's been giving me shit for. And then we get in this conversation about this book, and this book club is like, it's my good friends from my last job, and we're all super nerdy, and we've been doing book club for like 2 years now. And so I specifically had an aversion to this book because I am very like no regrets, which I'll get into in a second.
No regret.
And we had read no regrets, no regrets. That's mentioned in this book and in the other book I'm going to reference. We had previously read Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart, so we were actually comparing and contrasting like different definitions of regret and notes. And so she actually has research that I literally just pulled notes on based on what you said, right? That like when she looks at research from regret, it's more often that they find people that have regrets for like not doing something or not taking an action or not experiencing something, versus people that are like, oh, I wish I didn't do this thing or experience that thing or say that thing. So that's the number one thing that you said that struck me. The other thing that we were talking about was kind of, for me specifically, and anyone that's listened to the podcast or knows me or has read anything I've ever written knows that I constantly remind people that legitimately 5 years ago I was a different person. And so that person still feels like close enough that I remember how they thought and felt and reacted and stuff. So I'm reading this book from the lens of today. I don't believe in regretting things because I believe that you learn from them, and like I am who I am because of things I did. But I'm trying to read it from the lens of someone that I was 5 years ago, that would regularly look back and be like, "Oh, I wish I didn't get married, or I wish I didn't move to Long Island," or like any of these things that at any point I thought I felt regret about, or people might tell me I should feel regret about. Because I think the baseline beginning of the book is really about setting expectation, and there's a lot of like cool science around, for example, the fact that children before the age of 7 can't feel regret because they don't have that capability to think about, oh, I did a thing and this is what happened, and I wish I did this thing because I think that it would be better if I had done that thing. Like kids can't do that. And there's also cognitive issues where, like, for example, people that have Parkinson's can't experience regret, so they don't do that. So like the science is cool, but I'm trying to rectify the version of me today that's like, could I spin a whole sad story about like why I shouldn't have gotten married and I was too young and nobody should have let me do it and I wasted X amount of time, whatever. Like, could I do that? Yeah. Do I feel that way today? Absolutely not. Like, I would venture to say, some people are like, if I could do it again, I would do it differently. I don't believe that I would anymore. And I think it's because like I like who I am today, and if I say I would have done it differently, I don't know if I would have gotten to today.
Yeah.
Right? So it's weird because at some point I absolutely experienced regret for that choice, and I reframed it, and now I don't know if we were talking about like theories, like is it different stages of life where like once you're older you don't experience regret as much, or is it just a learned skill through like, again, I've focused a lot the last 5 years on like gratitude and reframing, and obviously I've been doing hundreds of hours of coaching and coaching work. Like, is it a learned skill? Is it a life stage? I don't know. But for me, I'm in like an interesting space where as we talk about this book, I can both deeply understand how I feel now, but still access how I would have felt if I were consuming the same information 5, 6 years ago, because that person still feels like pretty close to like understanding. So it was a very interesting conversation, and we're literally only 2 chapters in, and I'm like, oh my god, where is this gonna go? Like, how am I gonna?
It's fun being able to.
It feels like I can
like have that awareness, because like um
I like hearing like the outside sounds because they're not overwhelming, but
yeah, I keep like looking around, keep hearing people talking, and I'm honestly really worried that I'm gonna see like somebody that I don't need to see out in public. Train of thought. Okay, so like there's so many people that don't develop that sense of awareness, I feel like, where they can like actually look back and be like yes, well, while I did at one point regret doing that, I've now processed all of what happened and have come to terms with who I am now, and am either happy with or becoming happier with like who I am and where I'm at and all that stuff. And like everything that happened, as much as it fucking sucked, was crucial to me getting to this place right now. And there's so many people that like I don't feel like ever actually reach that point, and are always just like end up stuck in that cycle of like, well, if this would have happened differently, or if I had done this differently, and then they never actually like push forward and like grow from there. It's just like wallowing in the regret and like wallowing in the what ifs, and like that fucking sucks, because that's like we all need to do that sometimes, but the point is like do it and then fucking figure it the fuck out, like whether it's through therapy or like with what you do with the coaching and stuff, like just figure out what works for you and then do something with it. And I feel like that's so easy to say now, because like trust me, a year ago I would have been like, you're full of shit, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're talking about. It's so much harder than that, and it is fucking hard, but like that's another lesson that I think so many people need to learn, is that like, yes, it's fucking hard, but you can do the hard things, and the more you do the hard things, the easier it gets to do them, and then suddenly all the hard things aren't hard anymore, or maybe they're hard sometimes, but you've done it before and you can do it again. And I don't know, I'm going on a fucking tangent now, but like it's nice being able to see that kind of growth, because like I relate to the I shouldn't have gotten married thing, but like no, I don't know, if I wouldn't have gone through that shit the way that I went through it and ended up getting divorced and everything else, I wouldn't have gotten to the point of like truly giving a shit about myself that I'm at now. And like that sounds really fucked up, but like I don't know, I think with how bad it was, like having someone fully destroy every sliver of self-worth that I had for so long, like I hit rock bottom. And they're, the whole cliche of like, you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. But it's like, instead of just, floating up, it's like, use that shit like a fucking, like, what's the word? Like the thing that gymnasts use where you jump on it and it like fucking rockets you up.
A trampoline?
No, it's like the little flippy board that they use to do, I don't know. Somebody's gonna know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what that's called.
It's, just use it to launch yourself fucking further.
Springboard, it's called
that's
springboard.
The word, yes. And like that's kind of how it felt, because like I hit that point where I'm just like, you know what, this fucking sucks, I'm sick of this, like whatever, told him I wanted a divorce, and then like just so rapidly started changing everything in my life around. And I did the same thing when I cut off a couple of like my really toxic friends last year, like right before I found you guys. And like it's weird seeing that shift of like, once you don't have that constant like negativity and toxicity and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, I kind of wish I didn't have to go through that, but like that showed me what I don't want to do anymore. So like now I have something to just fucking launch towards, because I am a valuable human being just for existing, and all of these people were just fucking wrong, and now I can do all these cool things because there's not, all this I don't believe the negative shit anymore.
Yeah. It's like, this is a Taurus moon joke, right? But like, I relate to what you said about having someone just like tear every shred of your value down. But I need to let people do, like, I need to let like a couple people do that, right? Like, I've got like 4 key players in that space in my
Yep.
life over and over again, which is probably why it took 30 plus years for me to be like, hold on, maybe it doesn't fucking have to be this way, right? Like, maybe even though there are multiple people that have done this to me, it's about them and not about
Yep.
me. But like, all of that being said, again, when I think about would I undo any of that? Like, could I logically say, yeah, I wish I learned the lesson the first time? Yes. And if I had learned the lesson the first time, would I have continued to do any of the work that I did, meet the people that I did, like have the jobs that I've had? Would I have taken, would I have studied to coach, all of that? Like, probably not. Probably not, Dr. Pepper. Probably not. And I always tell people that I think what the work that I do in coaching is semi-selfish. I'm air quoting, because every time someone that I'm coaching has a new awareness, it creates an awareness for me.
I accidentally just manifested because Rory from Enter Shikari just walked into my fucking car.
So there's no such thing as accidents. You just manifested.
Oh,
Hi, Rory.
crazy. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment.
So again, if you didn't get married, would Rory have just walked past your car while we were talking about regret? Probably not.
No,
Right?
if I hadn't met you guys, would I be sitting in a whole different city, going to being okay, going to a show by myself, having the confidence to do all? Yeah, no, no regrets.
And this is why I'm constantly talking about the people around you too. Like, people think like that's some bullshit, but you have to have the right people around you. And something you were talking about was like, I'm not going to put this chart up because if I put it up, it's going to be backwards anyway. But in this book, the book that I'm talking about is by Daniel Pink. It's called The Power of Regret, in case anybody's a reader and wants to actually see this. But there is a chart that like talks about your responses to regret. And it's like, you can feel things and choose to ignore them, which leads to delusion. You can feel things and choose to just feel them, which leads to despair, which is that wallowing that you were talking about. Or you can feel things and you feel things and you feel them, but then you use them to think and to choose action. And so like that's the difference, I think, in the way that I think about regret now. So it's to the point where I don't even call it regret. It's just like, oh, here is a thing that happened and it is information. And I will feel things as a result of what happened and do things with that information. Like, now regret is information for me.
It's like
So it's just interesting.
It's like alchemy, in a way.
Oh,
like,
I'm surprised.
Oh, I know there's various forms of that, but I feel like one of the ones that is easily accessible for almost anyone if you just put your mind to it is like being able to do like that form of it. And like I feel like that's all it is just taking whatever feelings those are and using them and transforming them into something that can help you grow and be better. And like that's fucking alchemy, my dude. It's doing magic.
Yeah, and it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's doing magic, yes. With all my crystal babies next to me. So it's interesting because we're only a couple chapters into this book. And I am like, okay, so where does this go? Like, where does he go from here with this? But it's unpacking an emotion that I felt so many different ways. Because like, even, I don't remember who I was talking to recently. And I guess it had to be someone in chat because they were calling me JP. And they were like, JP, you don't react, you respond. And I'm like, I want you to know that's like a huge compliment for me, because that is like still brand fucking new to me. Like, that's 4 or 5 years of like 4 or 5 years ago that wasn't true, right? Like, when I was younger, it was all about like the most immediate and explosive reaction to get the most attention, to try to get someone to pay attention to me and or love me and or give me what I needed, meet whatever basic need it was. And that was active unlearning. And so like that was a great compliment, but at the same time I'm like, oh, that other person is still close enough where I can remember how she would have handled this situation differently.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's also fun to think about, like, if you look at the different ways, like, because even even if you have made all of the progress in the world, there's sometimes like, I don't know if you still experience this, but sometimes there's still that like little voice in the back of your head that's like that gut reaction to something. And then once you like pause for a second, it's like that little voice, little gut reaction, like that's what we were taught, whether through our experiences or just someone else showing us like that's how it is, whatever. And then the next reaction, like how you follow up, that's who you truly are and like who you've become. So if you let that little gut reaction take hold, is that truly what you like, how you would process the situation? Or is it just, you know, all of the experiences that were, you know, kind of pushed on you for so long, reacting to it? I don't know if that makes sense, but
That's so funny. It does make sense because you made me think of, so I recently, well, actually, I don't know when I did this, but at some point in the last year, I unblocked somebody that should not have been unblocked. And I engaged in text interaction with this person like for the last 2 or 3 months, like on and off. But the initial like message that they sent me that came through, I didn't even remember that I unblocked them until I saw it because I also had their like notifications turned off. So I was actually in the airport coming back from Wales in August. And I got the message and I was like, "Oh, how did you get in my inbox?" And so it was an innocuous message, right? Like it was just like miss you, maybe we could talk soon kind of message. And I was like,
okay.
I vacillated between two gut reactions, one being yes and one being absolutely not. And so what I chose was, hi, I think I might have said miss you too. I don't know if I remember. I don't remember. I don't want to look at them either because there's been a lot since then, but might have said miss you too. I don't know if I was that vulnerable in that interaction though, but I did say, I'm in an airport in Europe right now. I need to like be in a place to appropriately receive this, right? Or like, I'm not in a place to appropriately receive this right now. I'll get back to you. Which is like not a reaction, not even close to a reaction. In the previous life, it would have been like, yes, miss you too, everything's fine, or fuck you, don't ever talk to me again. And that reaction felt so good for me. It apparently was very challenging for that person to receive because we had not had any conversation in about 3 years. So that's, to them, that's a new person, like talking to them, like everything, the language, the fact that I didn't engage, and then I didn't re-engage for like a month.
Yeah.
And I still didn't re-engage. They ended up coming back around. But like where I'm going with this is after choosing the reaction to be honest and say I need space and I don't know when or what that space looks like, that felt really good. And now in my brain, after what you just said, I'm like, is that who I really have been the whole time? But like the learned behavior was not aligned with that. And I'll never know, right? I'll never know which behavior was learned and which was like intuitive. But I know which one felt better and which one brought me less strife, although strife did come eventually for different reasons. But like in that moment, that was very peaceful and it felt right.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what matters. Because you did what you needed to do for you, and that felt good. And however they deal with that is not on you. Like, you weren't a piece of shit about it. You were just upfront and honest about where you were at, and like that's just, it is what it is. And there's always going to be people who like don't react well to that shit because people don't like being, you know, told that they, you know, either like aren't being given the space to like provoke you or, you know, do whatever. People don't like that. And like that's shitty. You'd think that as adults that we could just not be like that, but you know.
I mean, you do think that, and admittedly, right? I want to be fair and say I am the kind of person where, like, if we have a disagreement or something, like, I want to fix right away. I get very anxious if people are mad at me, if I don't want to talk, if they don't want to talk to me, like, it makes me panic. And that's when it's probably hardest for me to fight the reactionary response because I'm like, no, just tell me what's wrong. I'll fix it right now. And I'm learning, right? As I learn.
Sorry.
I love it. I'm trying to like look out your window with you when you make those statements. That's why I just lean this way. Again, so many people may not be watching the YouTube, but I just lean to look out your window.
It's like when you're playing a video game and you're like trying to
You're
like your character's trying to like look around a corner, and I'm just like, if I lean further, my character will be able to see further.
That's what's happening right now. I'm like, I want to see what they're seeing, but it's not
Just
happening.
loud ass trucks. I wish I would have picked a more neighborhood spot to park, but
it's not really. It's on my end. It's not that
okay. That's good.
So like what I'm learning more is like as I'm teaching myself to take space and digest my responses and think through things more, it's not easy but easier for me to like reciprocate when other people need the space. Still hard as fuck.
Yeah.
And like I don't regret the unblocking, even though I think the way I told the story makes it sound like I did. So it's like ironic because we're talking about regret. Because I also needed validation that like this is still not a relationship that can like be part of my world. Um, it's really not that bad.
Oh,
On
I'm
this
trying to. I'm trying
you
to
can
hear
tell
you.
that you're,
It was
you're
getting
good.
hot though, so I had to roll the window down. So it's
Yeah, don't cook yourself.
So yeah, I don't want to be sweaty at the show.
No, well, you will be later, but you don't want to walk in sweaty.
Just cooking a little, a
Hmm.
little flavor. I'm sorry, that's disgusting.
It's all right. I said something. I won't repeat it here, but there's something more disgusting than that. It's okay.
I don't know. It's weird being able to have like normal conversations about stuff like this and like not have somebody get hurt because you like I don't know how to explain it. What do you mean? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry.
You're asking yourself what you mean? Oh, okay.
Because like, okay, being able to have adult conversations about these kind of feelings and these kind of reactions and stuff is just really nice. Because I don't know, there's still so many people that it's like if you even try and bring up the topic of like something difficult, like how people react to you or just needing space to process something before you have like a normal conversation about something or whatever the case may be, like that. Because like I'm very much on both sides of the I need to solve this immediately, but also like if I try to solve this immediately, it's going to be really bad and I'm not going to react appropriately. So like I need that time to process it so that I can be mature about it. And like, so I get both sides of it, but like, I don't think I ever actually do the right thing in in the moment. I'm still trying to figure out what needs to happen. But it seems like whenever I'm trying to do one or the other, it depends on like the person that you're talking to. But and I don't think there's anything wrong with like taking a step back and like, trying to, I guess, settle into the feelings before the gut reaction, before having that conversation. As long as you are upfront, like, hey, like this is not like an extra issue. I'm just trying to process whatever's happening right now so that we can make it a non-issue kind of thing. Because like if you don't communicate that and you just fucking stop talking, that's when I spiral. But it's just, I don't know. I just feel like communication should be so much fucking easier.
I mean, like, yes and no, I guess. The thing that is like when I find that I need space now, like one ask myself like two main questions. Is like number one, like what do I feel? Like name the emotions that I believe I am feeling. And like sometimes there's extras on there that when I look at it again, I'm like, no, I didn't really feel that way. I thought I did. And then it's also like, why? Right? So did somebody do something that like caused me to feel that way? Or do I just feel this way because of XYZ? Like there's a lot for me around extreme ownership, being exposed to like a lot of narcissism in various places in my life. Like you pick up those tendencies as a way of survival. And so then you have to unlearn them. And part of one of them is like just blaming everybody for all your fucking problems. And like, you made me feel this way and you did this thing to me. And this is why I did this thing. And it's like, is that really why I did that thing? Or am I the reason that I reacted that way? Am I the reason that I feel this way? And so for me, that requires a lot of like quiet space and really intentional, like honesty with myself that I can't experience while I'm trying to also hold space for whatever you're feeling and going through. So it's just like, it's a wild, very, very different journey. And then when you talk about like the other person, it's also about where is the other person in the journey. So again, in this same situation, when I realized that this relationship could not be repaired right now, but I wasn't writing it off, I kind of wrote this long-ish response that I felt really good about, that I felt both articulated the fact that I wanted to be accountable for things that I had done, although I didn't go into all of that like in the response because it wasn't the time to have the real conversation. But like I felt like I articulated that I felt accountable for things, that I hoped for and saw a potential future for the relationship, and that there were boundaries that I had and things that had to happen for that to be a possibility. And I did not get a good response to that. And so then I like kind of sent it to my friend Lauren, and I was like, listen, here, I felt really good about writing this response. I didn't, and it came out naturally. Like I didn't over agonize over it or overthink it. And her response was like, no, this is good. She's like, you have to remember that this person is not in the same place as you. And at this point in life does not have the same communication, the same capabilities that you have when it comes to communication now that you have spent time learning.
I'm sorry. I just made really weird, awkward eye contact with the dude that was in the truck behind.
I saw it. I love this one. Really is like a good visual for people to see what's going on for you. Also, you look hot.
Thank you. Don't watch this one though, because then they're gonna see me like fangirl from it. Listening to it's one thing, but like don't look at the way I'm.
It wasn't. It doesn't. You didn't fangirl that bad visually.
Giggling and
just
stuff.
like we're like, oh look, I spoke it into existence immediately.
That was bad.
But yeah, so she was also just reminding me like that just because I can do it, it doesn't mean the other person has the capability, and it's also not my job to like upskill that person in those capabilities right now. Like they've got to
like there's times in life where like you can walk with people through like certain stages of their growth and stuff, like as like a friend and stuff, and like that's awesome when you guys can grow together like that. But there's also so many times when it's like that's you got to figure that out. Like I just can't take that on because it's not my fucking job. And like that's okay too. And I feel like some people are gonna look at that and be like, well, you're just like a shitty friend if you're not willing to like give people. And I was like, no, I'll give you the time to grow and figure it out and whatever, and you can come back. We can both come back to this at a different point, but like it's not my job to hold your hand through becoming a better person. Like that's why I have a therapist, you know? Like because I have so much my own shit that I have to work on for me, and I'm not expecting any of my friends to do that, like emotional work or anything. Like, yes, be there to support me while I do it, but you don't have to actively do it for me. And like that's a huge difference, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. And like I think like to normalize too, right? It's when we talk about it like this in a space like this and we're like, well, like that's your job, I'm not going to do that, right? Like it sounds blunt, and that's not, maybe we say it that way, maybe we don't, but like the back end of that is, right, like that it is painful to be the person that's interacting with someone that like does not want to do that work and cannot communicate that way, and like it's again a learned skill not to attach your own value and whether or not you are lovable to that reaction. Like that's a lot of what I talked about in therapy on like Monday. I was like with my therapist, I was like, I like logically have done this work and know this now, but like it's still painful. And she was like, well, of course it will always be painful. Like that is a hole that will always hurt a little bit. And as humans, we like, this isn't from her, this is just like actual psychology, is like we are pre-programmed to seek pleasure and avoid pain, like obviously. And so when we excuse behavior like that, and like when I'm over there like, oh, I wish that I could just help you like respond to me in a way that's productive, it's like that's me trying to avoid pain. I just have to accept it. I just have to feel the pain and accept it, and let people come back when they're ready to interact in a way that meets those boundaries, and we can have like a productive conversation about what we don't want to do to each other anymore. And like, but you can't make people feel that, and the wanting to make people feel that and respond in certain ways is just like that pain avoidance, like that natural desire to avoid the fact that like, hey, I'm going to be firm with you and set a boundary. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, but that's what I have to do because like I can't make you.
And I feel like something else that goes along with that is like, if an attempt is being made to set a healthy boundary, it's because I like don't want to just cut you off. So like if you have a negative reaction to me setting a very healthy, normal, reasonable boundary, like that's something you got to figure out. Like, because why do you want me to not have boundaries so badly? Like why are we okay with having some weird like gray area where possibly negative things are allowed to happen? Like, it's better for everybody all around if we can just respect each other's needs, and you know, when those needs are clearly communicated. Like, I don't know, that just makes fucking sense. But
it does. It's hard to learn though.
Yeah, no, I know. And it's frustrating. That pisses me off so much. And like I just, it's so weird to think about, because I the whiplash I got from going from being like the ultimate people pleaser to like hardcore, I know my worth, I'm setting these boundaries, you know, figure it the fuck out. Like, it's still hard for me to process sometimes, because most of this stuff for me happened in the last year. Because there was like, I keep coming back to this one friendship because we were friends since high school, and we had a number of times where some shit would happen and it was really just negative, and we wouldn't talk for some, you know, extended period of time, and then we'd come back and like sort of just pretend like things were okay and just go back to just being friends again without any sort of like reworking of what we actually needed from each other to have it be healthy. And as time went on, I did make attempts to communicate when something was happening that made me feel like shit, or made me feel like I wasn't being valued as a friend or just as a person, whatever. And it was always turned into the, well, you're just being too sensitive, or it's just a joke, or why are you making me feel bad? And it kind of just got to that point where it's like, okay, well, I don't want to be here to validate you in all of your feelings whenever you feel some type of way about something, but you can't do the same for me, or you can't respect the fact that like I don't like my making fun of you to be like the friendly mean kind of, like, don't fucking like that. Like, don't make fun of things that I care about. Don't make fun of me for being interested in things, or like whatever. Like, that makes me feel like shit. I don't care how much you don't like the thing. Like, that's like, if it's a shitty thing, cool. We can figure that out. But if it's harmless, like when I hyperfixate on a band or a project or something like that, and all you do is talk shit every time I try and talk about it, you're an asshole. Like, because I know I'm very sensitive when it comes to like my special interests and hyper focused shit and all that, because, you know, the tism be tisming and whatnot. But like, still, I had respect for their special interests and all that stuff, and I never made them feel like shit about it. And I'm just like, all I'm asking is for reciprocated respect. And so when it came time to just be fucking done, I'm like, I'm not gonna have this conversation again. It is what it is. Cool, we're moving on. And it spiraled into this whole, well, you never told me that there was a problem, and now you're making me look like a shitty person, and like I never did anything, and like you're telling people that you're a good person when, you know, you're actually a piece of shit. And it's like, okay, but I don't need you to see me how I know I am. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like we didn't have these conversations far too many times. Like, I keep going on tangents. I'm so sorry.
I don't think there's a tangent. It's all connected.
But like, it's weird, like, looking at that and like that shift from like, I was okay for so long with just accepting the place that I had as like their punching bag or whatever because they were my friend, because I valued them. And then realizing that I had more worth than that and I had more to offer people who actually valued my place in their life. And now that I'm surrounded by people who show me how much they give a shit that's a sentence.
Give a shit about
about
you.
me.
We give a shit about you.
It's sometimes it's still almost jarring because some people look at it as like, you know, oh, you're setting boundaries now. You're a dick. And it's like, no, I'm not your doormat anymore. And there's people who respect those boundaries who don't think I'm a dick for it. So like, obviously it's not that bad. You don't care about me.
At some point I don't know. I'm saying we, and I'm for now. I'll just use that as me and you because we're both recovering people pleasers. I don't know that this is true for everybody, so I don't know. Someone fucking weigh in on this. But like, at some point, we were taught that boundaries don't exist in relationships, or like that you're not supposed to need them, which is so weird because you can't have a healthy any type of relationship without understanding and boundary. And like again, that example of someone saying like, you're making me look like a shitty person. Like no, actually the real question is, why do you feel like you look like a shitty person? Like, why do you feel this way?
Yeah.
Because you get to choose how you feel. Even or before, I don't know, you were telling the story too, and you said like they said, well, now I feel bad because okay, well, why do you feel bad?
Right.
Like, because I didn't make you feel bad. I told you how I feel, and something about how I feel makes you feel bad. What is that? And do you have any control over that? Like, there's no self-reflection in conversations like that. And it's because at some point we were taught, well, if you have boundaries, that's not fair because people should have unlimited access to you. And if you tell people that they can't, you're the asshole and you have to like unlearn that. And I still come from a place where I'm very much still giving first and service minded first. I mean, look at literally every fucking thing I do for work is about serving other people. And I still now have the skill where I can set boundaries. So you can have both, but it's like a delicate balance. And some people will not be okay with it. I had a friend, very short term friendship recently for about 2 years where every time we disagreed on something, it would just turn into, well, we just can't talk about this thing. And I was like, but I don't want a friend where I have a list of things we can't talk about. Like, and that is truly not even, now I have different reasons why I actually don't like this person. But like at that point in time, it feels like maybe we just shouldn't be friends because we're not aligned on what friendship is.
Yeah.
And that's not me judging you as a person in that instance. It's me saying, just like any type of romantic relationship, right? Like we're not compatible.
Yeah.
This is not a compatible friendship. And there wasn't a lot of mutuals where we would need to interact. You know what I mean? Like, but it ended up, again, I let it go until it spiraled and exploded into something it didn't need to be. But do I regret it? Full circle? No. Did I learn a lesson? Yes. And for me, it is my intuition was right. This just was not a person that was a match for me on like a platonic friendship level. It was never going to.
Yeah. It's okay. Sometimes I don't know. You just gotta try it on, I guess. And like, I feel like it's okay to not have every friendship be like a lifelong thing, like, because everybody goes through different phases in their lives, and like, sometimes you just outgrow people, and that's okay. Like, that doesn't always mean something bad happened or that it was, you guys just never should have been friends, because like, I don't know, I had like friends in high school or like friends that I met through jobs and all that stuff that like when I was in certain phases of my life, like we were good to have around for each other in some way or another. But now we've all moved into different phases, and like I'm still grateful to have met them for one reason or another, whether it ended well, ended badly, whatever. But like I don't think that an ending of a friendship or a relationship or anything like that always has to be seen so negatively. Like it can just be something that happened.
I like that. I'm smiling because I'm thinking about a very specific thing that ended at some point that is just like a good thing that happened, and it has no negative connotation, and it just is a thing from the past that, like, when I think back about it, I just smile. It's like a good experience and a lot of learning. Oh my god, nostalgia. We moved from regret to nostalgia for me over here. That's what's happening in this chair.
I feel like all we do is just cycle through all the emotions all the time. Like it's like we talk for an hour and it's like I have felt the full spectrum of the feeling.
It's the emotion rainbow, if you will.
Except sad. I feel like
Get
even when we were talking about like the negative stuff or like things that made me sad at one point, I feel like talking about them, at least in this context, like I never truly feel sad about it, which is interesting. Because like if I was in therapy, I'd be crying right now. Like it's
I think it's like the conversational container, right? Is the context of it is right. This is like a processing. Well, maybe it's not even a processing space. Maybe it's like a I don't know because is therapy processing?
yes.
I don't know.
For me,
I
it
need to
is.
chew on that.
So maybe it's because I've already
then this is
processed
like-
it.
I was gonna say maybe you come from the processing space to like the sharing, the learning space. So maybe it's like a collaborative learning conversation. So it's like the pass through the pain into the like, oh, now here is the knowledge and the value that I have to like share with people because I've gone through the pain in the process. That was a real roundabout way to get to what I think is happening.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I think the conversational container changes the way that you experience it sometimes.
I like that though. And I don't think
It doesn't mean I won't cry on these one day.
yeah, no,
because never cry.
there's absolutely gonna be some point where I'm sure. Aside from just laughing so much that I've cried, that has happened, and that will happen again without a fucking doubt. But at some point there will be sad tears, and I don't know why, don't know when, don't really care. But forewarning,
It's a fact. That's okay. I cry like every day over something.
you said what?
Not always sad, but I'm a crier.
Yeah,
I actually went a 5-month span where I didn't cry any sad tears, which was weird for me. But
I did almost cry the other night. Oh, the other night, yesterday. Um, and it wasn't even like I was like sad. It was more of like I accidentally made myself a little bit sad.
I do that a
'cause
lot.
I was like, I was thinking about how excited I was like on my drive out here. I'm like so excited. The show's gonna be awesome and have so much fun. And then for some reason my brain went, yeah, but you're not driving this whole way to see your friends again. And I'm like, why would you think that? Like why would you put that out there? And so I'm like sitting here and I was like, oh, now I'm sad because I'm making this long ass trip and you know, all my new best friends aren't waiting for me at the end of it. And so I like, I messaged Fingers about it. And I was like, I made myself sad in an accident. It's like, then I'm like, and then they were like, oh no, I'm sad. I'm like, no. And it was just more of like it wasn't like that deep sadness. It was just like that. I'm sad because I miss you guys so much, and it would be nice if, I'm so excited about seeing you guys again that I'm just sad that that's not happening now. But I know it's going to happen at some point, so like I'm not gonna, fall into the sadness about it. Like I'm gonna focus on, it is gonna happen. I am gonna get there, and focus on how excited I am for the shit that I'm doing right now and stuff because of you guys. And so I managed to pull myself back out of that. But I accidentally did get sad for a little bit because I miss you guys so much.
Do you want to reframe outside of the Winnie the Pooh quote, which is the Winnie the Pooh quote is the like what having something to be sad about, whatever. It's about like having something to be sad about is so you're so lucky.
Yes.
But my reframe outside of I'm not going to look it up. But
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking
about. The reframe outside of that is like that's the benefit and the curse of having all of your emotions so easily accessible. and not bottling any of them up.
It's weird though, you know. That's something I don't know that I'll ever properly adjust to. It's like I don't know.
What, having them accessible?
Yeah. Because I'm used to like compartmentalizing so much and like, or just having to shut everything off because I didn't have a safe space for all that shit before. But now I have like safe
And you were
people in a
people
safe
pleasing.
space and like so much fucking therapy under my belt that like it's with a good therapist. That makes a huge difference. You can go to therapy all you want. If you don't have a good therapist, it's not going to make a fucking difference at all.
No, I had 2 good ones, but I've already said I spent too much time with my first one. I love this one right now. She's right for me right now, but I think it will get easier. I think you're still fresh into it is my perspective. And I was never good at compartmentalizing, but I was a people pleaser. And when you're people pleasing, you're not allowed to feel your own emotions.
You're
It's just not
too
allowed,
busy
because only
holding other
everybody
people's
else.
all the fucking time.
Yes. So I think you'll get there, but it's still new. But that's the joy of having them all right there at the surface to pick from whenever you want. I'm allowed to feel all of these. Which one do I want today? Oh, we'll pick that one. Weird. Why?
Yeah.
Never know. Well, now you have to feel a happy one because we need to get you to your show.
I still have like I don't even know what time doors are soon.
I'm also trying to remember what time it is. So you're 2 hours now. So it's what, 4:30?
Yes, it is. It is 4:30.
I did the math right.
Doors aren't even for another hour and a half. So how much you want to bet there's not a single soul lined up in front of that venue?
God, I love that.
Especially since I just saw the guitarist fucking running around by the King Super. So it's
Listen, bro's hungry. They gotta eat.
that's crazy. Actually, the
Gotta
more synchronicity stuff is actually like within the last like week. I want to say was having a conversation with how wildly unhinged my manifestations have gotten because I've realized how much power I have. And that just that dangerous. I am about to be so wildly powerful. It's so trust yourself because you got it in there. Everybody, everyone, just fucking do it. Manifest the things because you never know.
Just be prepared to not know what the fuck to do with them when they start coming around.
Yeah, no,
because I still don't know what to do with some of mine that have surfaced. I'm still like, where do I put you?
Yeah,
like,
I process those in therapy also. Except this last one, you guys got to watch me process that one. So enjoy that because that was a little silly. It's fine. It's fun. But yeah, this was a fun one. I'm excited. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me bring nerdy shit today.
Yay, always with the nerdy shit.
Not that I feel like you would ever not let me bring nerdy shit, but I was like, I have this really nerdy question today. Let's do this.
I love it. I hope you guys love it too. Thank you so much.
If anybody's under the impression that we plan these, we don't.
No.
So
most of the time, no, we for sure do not. And when we try, about 50-50 if it works or not. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, have fun at the show. Thanks. Thank you, everybody that listened again.
Yeah. Everybody enjoy us processing heavy things, and we hope this helps.
Yes. And if anything comes up, let us know.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.